Welcome in, everyone, again. This is another special interview, and we've gotten a chance to talk with David Rubenstein, but there's another face that I think people would like to know more, and that is co-owner Mike Arougheti. Mike, great to meet you finally.
It's so great to be here, Ryan. Thanks.
I know, and we're going down the list here, and I know that people can look at it simply on the surface and go, all right, Mike Arougheti, he's a part of this ownership group, but people really want to know, who is Mike Arougheti? So if you don't mind talking about childhood, hobbies, and kind of how you got to this point now.
How much time we got?
As much as you want.
I'm a lot older than I might look, I'd like to think, so this could be a long answer. The short of it, I grew up in the northern suburbs of New York in a town called New City. Went to public high school. Have an older brother, 2 years older than I am. Both my parents were school teachers. David and I talk about that a lot. I know he's obviously as passionate as I am about public school education and kind of the impact on community. Lifelong passion for baseball. As long as I can remember, just loved everything about it, playing it, talking about it, watching it. Believe it or not, my first job, or like legitimate job other than selling blow pops on the school bus, was I set up a baseball card trading business. And all throughout my early teen, middle school years, I actually would do like trade shows and buy and sell and trade cards. And it was kind of a cool thing for me at that age, because my folks said, if you're going to do it right. So Get a tax ID number, fill out all the forms, do it the real way. And so that was kind of an early entrepreneurial thing for me that mixed my love of business and baseball. And it's been like that, since. I played ball through high school. Obviously, take a look at me. I'm not going past that. So I've always tried to find ways to, feed the love of the game. And it was everything from, playing fantasy baseball for 30 years at a pretty intense level and just trying to, hang around it. So for me to now be in this seat, to have it come full circle where I can kind of mix some of the things I've learned over the years in my business life with my passion for the game, it's really just dream come true.
So I got some follow-ups now, because this is
a lot
to dissect here. But first off, you look really good. I don't. You're 51. Is that what you said? And we talked about it off air. Your hair, if I could have that in 20 years, I would be grateful.
Tell you the secret's off, because we can maybe do some kind of a venture together on some product that we could.
That'd be great. We're looking for more sponsorships, that maybe that can help. And again, the family lineage for a Ripken is not ideal. Right. But I digress. One thing I was interested with was trading cards. So how old were you again specifically?
13, 14, 15, kind of middle school into, early high school.
Yeah.
And I spent every weekend, get in a car, drive to some hotel in, some town in New Jersey, set up my table, and it was cool. Yeah. So anyway, I went to Yale for college, and my essay was about that whole experience. And actually, we were cleaning out the attic, and we found it, and my wife and I got it quite a chuckle out of it, because it obviously didn't have a level of maturity that I thought it did at the time, but the way it described my experience was just pretty cool.
Well, and the reason why I like these stories is for everyone that's listening and they go, well, they always look, I told David this, and even my dad to that sense, they look at what you've accomplished and where you're at, but maybe not the journey where it started from. And for you, I think that's fascinating, because at 13, 14 years old, sometimes you feel like you don't know what you're doing, but if you're passionate about something, it's great to go and.
It was so cool too, because everybody next to me was 50, 60-year-old, guys. And I was thrown into this bizarre world in some respects, of just this traveling circus of people who were in the trading card business. And so I think it helped me grow up a little quicker, because I was taking it very seriously, and it was fun. It was good business, but I was kind of learning from the guys around me, just kind of what life was all about, because they were obviously in different place than I was.
When you're that young, you're not necessarily, I don't know. Tax IDs, when you threw that out,
I had no idea what it was.
I still don't. Well, no, I know now, but at the time I think it's the exposure. You were exposed to something that helps you grow life lessons. And that's the most important thing. Hey, talk about fantasy baseball. And now I'm hearing kind of the one of us type of thing here. I gotta know, because I know the stories, or I've heard, and you said 30 years you've been doing fantasy baseball. You probably had the live drafts,
all of it,
everything,
auctioneers, the whole thing.
Okay. So I in this, because it's fantasy football season's come around. So I got my guys that have helped me reach certain heights. But was there a player maybe back in the day when you were starting off that you were just giddy about getting for fantasy baseball?
God. I mean, well, it depended what strategy we were going for in any particular year. But there was a year, where I just went all in on the big unit and Pedro at the top of my rotation, blew my entire wad and just went long, big arms.
Yep.
And it worked. But like, as you know, it's more complicated than that. So
for sure.
And then once people are on to you, you've got to start moving around so that they don't adjust to your strategy. But those types of big bets, I think you can make more often in fantasy than you can make in reality. But that was a pretty epic season for me.
Yeah, I was trying to think about the years with Randy and Pedro. Two electrifying arms, by the way. Randy to me is still the scariest. I'm glad I didn't have to face him. A lefty that's 7 foot and the ball's going out there.
He couldn't find. I mean, it took him years to actually figure out how to find home plate. So imagine stepping up to that guy, and you saw what he did to that bird, right?
Yeah, he did. Iconic. Rest in peace for the bird. Yes. But it just goes to show you it takes time. So everyone out there, when you're trying to figure things out, sometimes you just have to be patient and work through things. The other part here, I think the constant thing that we're seeing from the Baltimore base, from the fans' perspective, is just how much that you've embraced the Birdland community. And not just you. I mean, David's doing in the 7th inning, dancing on the dugouts. Are you getting up there for that soon?
Not yet. I did the hot dog race, which was kind of
I know. You just wait.
That was pretty epic.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but we're going to keep trying. We love being out there, amongst the fans, because we're fans, right? And so I know it sounds so simple, but there was an old style of ownership where you're kind of detached from the fan base. And it's like, what's the point, right? We're doing this because we love the game. We love the community. We love the city. Like, we want to be in it. Like, I don't want to be sitting somewhere where I'm not in it with people.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. And it's been great watching David, do his thing. His Mr. Splash, I thought, was just one of the great baseball moments. And it's been fantastic.
Well, and I tell people this, it's not an act, it's authentic. And I'm glad you mentioned that. You guys are fans of the game. Yep. You feel what the fans feel. And I think that is the part that is so genuine. Okay, now let me ask you about the hot dog race here, because this is one, we always have a running thing here with us. So if we want to get in on the hot dog race, when I saw you ran with your sons, Eli and Noah, right? Yep. And you chose ketchup, if I'm not mistaken. That's what is that your dog of choice?
Like
for a condiment?
IRL?
Yeah.
No. I'm a mustard relish sauerkraut guy in real life.
Wow.
But I had done some research leading up to the actual race. And at the moment that we did it, ketchup was like 14-3 or something. Like, it was just running away with the things.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was a little bit of a momentum play, not really like I'm passionate about putting ketchup on my hot dogs. I think after the age of 8, and no offense to any fans out there that do this differently, I think putting ketchup on a hot dog is just not what grown men do. So sorry, guys. But, but for me in the race, and if you look at the aerodynamics of the ketchup suit, I think it plays a little faster than the other.
Yeah. So it was a calculated move, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
It had nothing to do with your specific taste. No. It was more of, I think that the aerodynamics of this costume
1,000%.
and your analytics that was going to win the race. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out in your favor.
But like anything, baseball, stuff breaks the other way, and you just got to kind of let it happen.
Yeah, you got to let it happen. I do have to say one thing. I usually eat a hot dog plain. I consider sauerkraut more of like a topping. Like
not a condiment.
Not a condiment, exactly. So like crab mac and cheese with Stuggies has that. It's a topping to me. I love that.
What about a chopped onion?
I would consider that a topping.
Okay.
I'll throw some onions on there, but people get on me that I go, hey, I'll have a plain dog if I can only put a condiment, I'm going to go no condiment. You
haven't even graduated to ketchup yet. You're still in like the plain dog phase, waiting to get the sophisticated enough palate to actually put some ketchup on it.
So I thought you were going to be on my side a little bit with that. Of just,
I mean, just keep it simple, like plain.
Yes.
I can see it.
Yeah. Plain and honest, Mike, is actually how I like to tell people. I am plain and honest. And I just say it's the truth. If you really enjoy a hot dog, I tell people,
enjoy it for what it is.
You enjoy it for what it is. And you know what? I'm going to disregard what you just said about my take on hot dogs. For ketchup lovers, though, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and that was a tough race. I legitimately went into that thinking I was just going to absolutely annihilate the boys.
Yeah.
And then, age and reality set in. And the one thing I will say, which for anybody who wonders what it's like, it is one of the most disorienting experiences you'll ever have. You kind of get rushed out there, and then you can only see like 6 inches in front of you. And so I thought I was like 100 yards ahead of these guys coming around the turn.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they closed in. I got squeezed, and that was it. And then they were off, and it was over before I even knew it.
Is it a heavy suit?
It's not heavy. It's just hot and awkward. But
Yeah.
It's not heavy.
It's not heavy. Okay.
So I'm trying to get a rematch going, but I can't get the boys to bite, because I think they're like one and done. We smoked you. It's over.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe it's just like you got to do a father-son thing. So maybe I'll get Calvin and I to get in there.
I think that would be
great.
pretty big.
Make
that happen.
We should try that. Calvin, we'll talk about it. On another note, we'll switch back a couple things and we'll get you out of here. But I think you talked about with, the enjoyment with the fans. I mean, the moment right there, the hot dog costume, it just really signifies just the fun that you want to bring to the ballpark and to the community. But now on the other side, one thing that fans always noticed was kind of what direction the team was going to go. And we're not sitting here of going, what's the plan for 2025? Or what are you going to do in the offseason? Because that's still yet to be determined.
We don't know what the market's going to be.
Exactly.
Right?
But I think the part that was interesting was this trade deadline where you acquire guys like Zach Eflin and Eloy Jimenez. That one was probably the most shocking. And the biggest thing was because of what the implications meant of taking on certain contracts. Yep. And so I guess, and maybe if you can just touch on it, it seems like your guys' plan is you have 100% commitment to try to help push Baltimore back to a World Series title and something that fans here haven't had. And I can't believe I'm saying it again, in 41 years.
Yep. I think that's absolutely right. From the day that we bought the team, which was the day before opening day, we made that commitment, right? We love baseball. We love Baltimore. We also love winning. And this is a team that is so ascendant and poised to win for a really long time. So it's our job to do whatever we can to make that happen. Telling you what a lot needs to go right in baseball to win, even if you're the best team. And we are, in fact, I think the best team in the game. And so you got to make good decisions, make the team better. We made the team better at the trade deadline, and we kind of put our money where our mouths were. The collaboration between ownership and the front office was, I think, everything we both wanted it to be, just in terms of the dialogue and the shared vision. But yeah, we're in it to win it. And you look at the depth of talent on this team, in the bigs, in the farm system. Like, this is a team that we could go back to winning a lot for a very long time. And I think, hopefully people will understand that when we're making moves, we're doing it with a long-term perspective, right? The goal isn't win once and then figure it out from there. And so part of that is you've got to invest for the long term. So people aren't going to love every decision that the front office makes, but that's baseball.
It is. I mean, even for probably business-wise too, you've had experiences of seeing that not every move is going to be the right move. And sometimes it's not going to be maybe popular, but the intention is there to try to go out there each and every time to go out and win a World
With
Series.
The information you have. Like,
exactly.
What I love about the way that this team is run, it's very, very just analytical. They understand, why they're doing things and how they're doing it. I know in your conversation with Mike, you spent a lot of time talking about his approach. That's the way we're wired too. So there's a comfort there with that. But then, baseball gods do crazy things, and you have all the best information and you make all the best decisions you can, short term and long term. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But yeah, I think we've got all the right pieces in place.
Yeah, I think the one word that Mike used, and that's why his vocabulary is way more impressive than mine, but they tried to forecast. There's so many different variables that can happen with players, situations, and that's the same thing with baseball, but in life. And I just love the fact that the camaraderie and the likeness isn't the right word. It's more so of that the compatibility between the front office and with the ownership. You guys trust the group, and I think one quote I saw you say, you want to try to empower people as leaders, and I think that that's been fully on display so far here with the organization.
That's our leadership style in our private lives. You know, I think that David's is a great leader in that respect, getting the right people in the right places to succeed. I think we're the same way. What you've probably noticed too is this is a really tight-knit, fun-loving, friendly group. And so, and I said this to the team opening day, what is so unique about this team is how much they actually really like each other, and how much fun they're having winning together. And so we've tried to bring that spirit of let's win together, not just on the field, but bring it into the warehouse. And I think it's starting to bear some fruit too.
I think it's a cultural thing, and you can definitely feel the shift around the ballpark. A lot of those guys were my former teammates and people I've seen over the years. It's genuine in there. And I think that
you can't fake that.
No. And Eric DaCosta, I was going back through the interview we did with him earlier on. And one thing he said is that every piece, even if it might not be the star player, everyone has a role, but you want everyone to feel like they're on the same page. So I'm excited. One more fun thing to get you out. This is one last debate, and maybe it's just, I don't know, football season starting, and we had these conversations about I think the Orioles were just over at training camp the other day. What Oriole player in your mind would be a good football player? I know Adley Rutschman tackled Christian McCaffrey. That's a video that happens all the time. Or it shows.
You have some guys that are, proven football players. So we could state the obvious on that. I think I would go for size, I'd say Batista, Cano, and get those guys in there
in the trenches,
laying down some big blocks. And I think that would be pretty impactful.
I think so too. I think that Felix might be able to take up 2 spots himself. He is the biggest gentle giant as far as in the locker room, but in a competitive situation, I don't want to mess with that guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially with the guy that I see what he can do on the baseball field. But that's all I got. Any other last words you'd like to just say to the?
I'm grateful to be here. We're all in on winning. We're doing everything we can, and I just got to say, the community has embraced us. David's is a local. Right. We've had to come here and kind of, I don't want to say earn people's affection and respect, but from day one, everybody in this city has been so welcoming. I mean, last night, just a quick aside, I'm sitting down in the seats with a buddy of mine who he's from Baltimore, sees someone that he's friends with, calls him down. We get to talking, and the guy's like, "You getting down here often?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down here, a lot now. I've taken in 2 or 3 games a week." He's like, "We've got this great guest room. I know that you probably don't want to stay, but it's lovely. The family's great. The kid." So I just met this guy, and he's inviting me to stay at his place when I come down to Baltimore, which that would never happen in other places. I mean, this community is just so kind and welcoming. It's a great baseball town, knowledgeable fans, passionate fans. I just feel like we got this reverberation of everybody getting excited about what's going on here at the same time is it's thrilling. So I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
And we are too. It really feels like it's the perfect match because you have people that love the game of baseball. You're coming into a town that thrives off of it, and also genuine people. I think we're getting a lot of that, not just from the organization side, but in the community.
It's so good.
But Mike, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I will see you around soon.
Absolutely.